Hey guys, this is Michael here. Hi, how is everyone doing? I thought I'd basically slot in a video today because I've got some stuff to do in between my preparation for the comedy store tomorrow. I'm doing the King Gong show for anyone who lives in the London area and you want to see it. Just drop me a PM and I'll give you the address details. You can go to my Facebook page, Michael Burhan Actor, or you can head over to my official website, michaelburhan.com. Um, Now, I've been looking at the channel, looking at the subscribers, and looking at everything that's being liked, disliked in terms of my videos. And one video seems to be extremely popular right now, which is my original rant on Angry Joe. Now, I want to say right now that I feel that a lot of people who've been discussing the current events going on with Angry Joe aren't really getting it correctly, but we'll go into that in a second. Now, for those who don't know what's actually happened, is Angry Joe has decided that he may cancel the Angry Joe show. And a lot of that is due to the fact that he feels he's not making enough money on his content, and also the fact that he had a lot of fan backlash, which led to him cutting off his comment section and taking away his upvotes and downvotes on his videos. Now, I will say this, to not be a hypocrite, I've toyed with this idea myself of cutting off the like to dislike ratio on my videos so that I don't have to like deal with a lot of problematic people, aka trolls, who've come to my channel to kind of like get me to stop making content by downvoting my videos. But I decided against it, and a lot of the reason why I decided against it was because I thought, you know what, people deserve a voice. Now, the thing about this situation is Joe has a very big ego. Um, and his ego is super huge because of the fact that he's done really well for himself on YouTube. The medium has changed. He's done really well in terms of the content that he produces, and a lot of his content's been up to snuff, been really high spec stuff. I think about a couple of years ago, I stopped watching his content and I made a video because I was annoyed with the fact that he basically went on Twitch and he raised funds for a new computer system. So he got his fans to basically give him money so he could make a new PC, which he didn't build it, and then turned on his fans and said, well, I don't have to build it. You know, you gave me the money to do what I wish with it, so it's my money now. You know, that was kind of one of my biggest issues with it. So I made a video on that. People, there was a kind of a 50-50 sidelines. You know, fans of his got angry with me because I said these nasty things about their favorite YouTuber. And people who weren't fans of his looked to the videos and said, yeah, you're right. You know, this guy is doing all this insane stuff. His ego is super huge. What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, by the way, for anybody who's just tuned in, leave a comment below. Let me know your feelings on this situation. I will read out your comments as I continue talking. So basically, I did that video, and a lot of people were migrating over to the channel because they wanted to hear my viewpoints on this. Now, I've watched a couple of videos because I wanted to do some research from Reviewtechusa, doing his kind of giving his 2 cents about it, and also looking at guys like Boogie giving his 2 cents about it. Now, I love Boogie to pieces. I love the guy. He's probably one of YouTube's biggest teddy bears in terms of the way his opinion goes and the way that he is, but he is also such a fanboy of people sometimes, where I feel that he doesn't give a proper opinion on things. His opinion usually comes out to the idea of like, I'm a fan of this person, so I'm going to defend them rather than discuss things. And I think he kind of leans more to his own idealistic kind of approach to things than he does actually seeing both sides. And that's not his fault. You know, if you're a fanboy of someone or you don't want to upset people, sometimes that's what you do. With Rich from Reviewtechusa, I left comments on both videos, by the way, so I'll leave those videos at the bottom so you can check them out and get a different opinion, because I feel my opinion is probably not just the only opinion that you guys should basically check out. So but yeah, Rich's opinion is one from a YouTuber's perspective, looking at his fans and understanding that people can be dicks. I know when it comes to my videos, people can be dicks. So that is kind of another take on the situation. I've checked out like guys like Philip DeFranco's perspective on the situation, guys like Xander Scullion, who went more into kind of the technical aspects of talking about the way that these videos are viewed, and in regards to subscribers versus YouTubers, what's going on, you know, in terms of the whole community itself. Now, I digress from that, and let's talk about the main kind of meat and veg when it comes to this situation. Why is Mike talking about food? Mike, get to the point. Mike, get to the point. Well, the point is, on this whole situation, is that Angry Joe is not like most YouTubers, and he's not. Just on the fact that he got a very big, successful run with YouTube when he was doing the Angry Joe show, to the point where his channel is kind of one of the million subscriber channels out there, which has done very, very, very well. I think in terms of guys, if you had a pecking order, if you had a list of successful gaming YouTubers, I think the Angry Video Game Nerd would be up there at #1, and guys like Angry Joe would be up the close #2. And these are guys who do straight reviews. I'm not talking about the gaming theorists who have managed to make a channel based on the fact they are doing theories and outlines and stuff like that, or the constant video game drama channels that are out there currently. Now, the issue and the gripe that I've had with Joe, and the one issue that I have in terms of him in general, is his ego. He has allowed his ego to get the best of him in terms of any YouTuber out there. There are a lot of egos, by the way, on this platform. If you're looking at YouTubers and content creators, etc., you know. And in terms of me being who I am, I like to call out egos, and I like to kind of give my perspective on things and give you an intelligent opinion, depending on the fact if you like that opinion or not. So, sorry, I just keep moving this around. Now, the biggest problem, the main problem I have in terms of Joe and the way that he's being, in terms of the way that he puts himself out on the platform, is that a couple of years ago he kickstarted, well, he didn't really kickstart it, but he done it via Twitch funding, where he would do like a playthrough of a certain game, and people would donate for him to get a new computer system. And thus it caused a bit of an issue with people like myself, and also he had fans who felt entitled when they purchased his new computer system. So he had people getting extremely annoyed out of what he was doing and why he was doing it. And I came out and basically stated that it was wrong for someone who was making a heck of a lot of money on YouTube and Twitch, and a lot of money off of like his content. He really didn't need to ask his fans for money. Now, let's fast forward from that situation, because if you want to learn more about it, you can check the video down below. He then basically decided to let people know. He published a video recently saying that there would be no angry rants until September. His fans, and quite rightly so, got angry. And they got angry because they sat there and just went, why aren't you doing these videos that we like, that we came to your channel for, and videos that basically we helped fund because we purchased you a new computer, we bought you a new system, we bought you all these new little bits and pieces for you so you can make this content. And that was one of the promises he made to his fans. And Rich kind of touched on this very well and very eloquently when he stated that when you make promises to your fans on YouTube, you need to adhere to those promises. It's not like sitting there telling like a friend or family member that you're going to come over at a certain time and you're not there. People paid money for you to adhere to these promises, and thus created the situation that we're in. So people got angry, and they started leaving nasty comments, and they started blowing up his comment sections and his feeds, and they started downvoting his videos to the point where it was 50-50, I believe. So like basically 50% of his subscriber base didn't like his video, to the 50% that did. That said, hey, we're going to stay here regardless, and we're going to support you because you're our guy. And I understand that there's loyalty. You got to be loyal to people sometimes. So we continue on that kind of trend. Joe basically gets really angry and then basically states on Twitter that he is cutting off any communication with his fans, which is the upvotes and downvotes, and he's cutting off the comment section. People again got rightly angry, and this is the thing: when you're on YouTube or any other platform, your fans do have a say. This isn't television. This isn't Basically, and a lot of content creators sit there and go, well, in terms of television and media, this is a very different animal. You know, it's social media in a sense, but it has that kind of television caveat to it. You know, you're creating content, you're one person making all this content for people to view, but you don't have to make the content. If you're not happy doing the content, you don't have to make it. But then you've got to find another way to make money. That's pretty much it. And this is where people are like, well, I do all this content, and they feel kind of entitled in a sense of what they put out for their subscriber base. But in the end, you're getting paid by ad revenue, which goes towards funding your lifestyle, paying your bills as a YouTuber. It's like when you're making, and again, I'll use the TV kind of platform here and say what it's like making a TV show. If you make a TV show and you're not happy making a TV show and you quit as showrunner, yes, you get royalties from that show, but that's if someone continues it on. If someone doesn't, then you're done. You know, you've got to find another project to put your name to, and another, basically, network who's going to trust you. And this is the thing, it's trust. Instead of going to TV execs and trying to fund a pilot, you're going to your subscriber base and you're expecting your subscriber base to trust you and trust in the content that you make. I don't give a shit if he's been doing it for 10 years. No one does. His fan base doesn't give a shit, certainly. And that's kind of where the issue lies. You've got to put your ego aside. If you don't want to make that kind of content, don't do it. Find another line of work. So there's that entitlement from Joe on his side and exactly what, you know, he wants to do here. Then you've got the subscriber base who sits there and they're rightly upset because they paid for stuff. And this is the thing. This is where I deviate from guys like Rich and I deviate from guys like Boogie, because you look at it as not a YouTuber versus their subscribers, who's right, who's wrong. It's on the fact that people invested in Joe's equipment, so they have a stake. It's like if you had a Patreon. If I had well, I do have a Patreon. If you want to donate to it, you can do. But if you have a Patreon and your subscriber base donates towards that Patreon, they have a say. They should have a say. It's like investors in a company. If you're the CEO of Apple, I don't know who that guy is right now. It used to be Steve Jobs, but he passed. But you have a CEO of a company and people have invested in your product, and you sit there and go, well, guess what? That product's not coming out. Or it's going to come out, but I'm going to release it like 8 months down the line, even though I announced it for like a week ago. People are going to get naturally frustrated. And this is the thing that Joe doesn't see. And I think the thing that most of these guys don't see, because they don't know. You know, a lot of them have actually stated we don't watch his content other than the angry reviews. So they wouldn't know about the whole funding the PC situation. People paid for his equipment. They paid for it. So because they paid for it, they're entitled. They feel that they have an investment and their needs need to be met. It's like going into a press conference. You're Vince McMahon, chairman of the WWE, and you're letting your investors know what you're actually doing. These people invested in his product. He didn't get this machine for free. He got it because he made a promise. So we're going on to that and people getting angry. And then he does the one thing which I consider a big sin in YouTube and in social media in general. He stops communicating with his fans. He stopped communicating with his fans because he didn't like what people had to say. And this is where we have a problem societally, in society in general, where we have a far left and a far right. And what people tend to do now is saying, if I don't like your opinion, I'm just going to cut you off. I'm not going to listen to you. I don't have to listen to you, because if you say shit about me, I'm just going to not reply, not respond, and I'm just going to cut off your platform to say it to me. And this is where the problem lies, because a lot of people will come out there and go, well, if you're not going to listen to me, I'll just go and tell someone else. Or I'll go to a rant YouTuber and make him to say some shit-stained story about you, and I'll vent my frustrations about you there, instead of listening to the people that made him who he is. And that's the thing. And when it comes to this platform in itself, every creator was made by their fan base. Without you watching my videos, I would be some stupid bald guy talking to an iPhone right now using a microphone. That's it. You know, without people sitting there like going and consuming videos from the game theorists, they wouldn't have a channel. The same goes for Joe. The same goes for any other YouTuber. And any YouTuber who sits there and says, well, that's utter bullshit, you're wrong. It's like what Philip DeFranco's doing at the moment with the DeFranco Elite. He's basically using his ingrained subscriber base to assist him in creating something new in terms of a new platform. Your subscriber base matters. your audience matters. And your audience, whether you like it or not, has a voice. And you can't sit there, you know, and basically explain a situation like you're a TV exec producing a TV show to air on cable or Netflix. It's not the same. And Cardinal, yes, I do. I'm just basically stating facts here. You know, people like yourself and people like the subscriber base that's ingrained in channels like mine are what make your channels tick. Otherwise, you're someone who's making content just for you. And no one on YouTube is making content just for themselves, whether it's YouTube Red, whether it's basically making content that the YouTube system can work with. You're basically making content so you can obtain a fan base, so you can get over a certain subscriber mark, so you can basically get those play buttons, so you can also make money and do this for a living. And it's a shame seeing how many people are kind of, they're marginalizing it. I think they downplay the voice that the fans have, the voice that social media in general has. Without the internet, without social media being what it is today, I doubt most people on the independent scene would have a career. You know, whether it be guys like Chance the Rapper, who embraces his fan base and makes loads of money because people want to listen to his music that he puts out for free, but they buy a shit ton of his merch and buy his tickets to his concerts. Without those people, he wouldn't have that. And this is where kind of Joe is in the wrong, and where most of these YouTubers who sit there and say, well, the subscriber base is the problem. You have a bunch of trolls. You have a bunch of people who don't like your content. And a lot of people are going to complain because they have that right to. It's their right. By turning off your comment section, you stop giving your fan base a voice. And thus you stop giving people a platform to comment on, to talk with you on, and to find ways to, you know, contribute to your content. And that's what they're doing. They want to feel like they're part of what you put out. And thus it causes a lot of situations such as this. And when it comes to Joe and his situation, I feel that a lot of what makes him who he is, a lot of what makes this situation as dire as it is for him, is his ego. And that's the problem. I think he feels like he's worked really hard and that he's very entitled. And I'm going to put this out there. A lot of his content is great. I loved everything up till, I believe, about 2014 in terms of Angry Joe's content, because of the fact that I felt that his content was nurtured and it was done in such a style, with such finesse, with such comedy, that it was just amazing, purely amazing. And if I had the tools like Joe did, I'd probably be able to do the same for myself. Do you need expensive equipment and loads of people to do it? Probably not, you know, but at the same time, he did things that no one else could do. But in an age that we're living in right now, where people are getting frustrated because YouTube keep changing the mandate, which they have the right to, you have YouTubers getting frustrated and they're taking it out on their audience. And thus is the big problem, where we have this big divide between your audience and the YouTuber themselves. Now, what I would say, if this problem could literally be fixed tomorrow, and the way that Joe can do it is by rescinding all the crap that he's been doing and say to the fans, look, I'm going to do something, but I need a break from doing these angry reviews. What can I do to assist my fan base in doing something where they can get the same kind of enjoyment, but it takes less time to do? Let's discuss. And that way it helps, because you let your fans know, A, that they're important, and B, it gives you a platform to speak honestly and to speak candidly about your situation, taking your ego and putting it to one side. But I don't think Joe's going to do that. He's more akin right now to saying that he may cancel the angry reviews altogether and just do what he wants, which is fine. That's great for you. But when your subscriber base starts dropping and dropping and dropping to the point where your channel is no longer sustainable financially, and you're going to Patreon to beg people to give you money so you can continue making your content on what you want to do, then that's going to be the main problem here. And basically, I will say, when it comes to the community themselves, I would say people need to react in kind of a better manner in terms of situations. And I don't mean you have to kiss people's asses, because you don't. I'm not kissing anyone's ass by doing this video. I'm doing it just because people want to know my thoughts, and I'm giving you an opinion. Because that's what it is, opinions. They're very subjective things, opinions. Everyone can have one. And as long as you talk candidly and you research and you understand what you're talking about, it makes things a lot easier. But in terms of Joe, all he needs to do is basically, you know, continue the road that he's continuing, and then eventually he will decline to the point where people will find another way, you know, and another person. I heard about the Angry Army kicking off, but I'm just angry with him. No, I agree, Moosh. Everyone is angry with him. And I think that the problem being is he doesn't see it. I think he's blinded by his own ego to the point where I don't think he understands where people are coming from. You know, and I will be the first to say sometimes we get into arguments, whether it be a relationship or friends and family, where your ego comes into play, where you know that you're right about something, and other people get really angry to the point where you just don't talk anymore because you feel like you're in the right, they're in the right, and nobody wants to kind of you're kind of at an impasse in a sense, and you want to find a middle ground, but you don't want to find it because you're right, they're right, that's it. I'm sure Joe's going the wrong way about it with the apocalypse. Any traffic in his channel is now good traffic for his wallet. Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think anyone's going to really look at his stuff anymore. He is getting people unsubscribing in droves right now, and this is where the problem lies. Eventually, he's going to have to either open a Patreon to get people to donate for the content that he's currently making, which I'm sure people will do, but he's also going to have an issue trying to deal with those who feel extremely angry and entitled about his product, and who will attack him and constantly attack him. But that's the thing. And as I said, opinions are subjective on these whole situations. And when it comes to Joe, when it comes to what he does, I'm sure there are plenty of guys on YouTube who can do what he does and do it probably on half the budget, and basically will candor and appeal to most of these fan bases that, you know, more inclined to want to see these reviews. By the way, I'm going to do a cheap plug. I do have a review series called A Rather British Review, guys. If you like it, go and check it out there. A lot of people have praised the review series, season 1 in general. I should be doing more for season 2, but I've just been super busy. But yeah, so, you know, there are other people out there who can help you consume the same content that Joe's been putting out. And that's where the problem lies. I think when we look at things as adults, as human beings, as people who like to communicate and understand each other and where the other person is coming from, I think Joe has a bigger issue here. There are plenty of newer, smaller review channels that do a way better job of reviews with a fraction of the budget. Yeah, and they are Moosh. I think that's the problem here, and I think Joe doesn't understand that. I think he's like, well, no one can do what I do, because look at the budget, look at the costumes, look at everything that I do. You know, I do a hell of a lot more than people like want to see, and it's like, that's great to have that kind of that kind of ego, but at the same time, where is it going to get you? And that's the problem here. And if Joe sees this video, because I'm sure someone's going to send it to him, if you see this video, Joe, and you feel that my opinion is unjustly, and you feel that you don't have an ego, let me ask you a few questions. 1, do you feel that you're entitled enough to allow people to not have a voice on your content? 2, what about the stuff that people paid for that you say belongs to you? Because, again, you've had people that, you know, invest in your product. And I know that this is a full-time job. Being a YouTuber is a full-time job. It's one of the reasons why I took a step back from working as a YouTuber to focus more on my acting career and my stand-up comedy, was because I had to make a choice. And YouTube takes a lot of time. Like, doing these videos are a lot easier to do, a lot easier for people to consume, and I can do them and wrap them out within an hour. There's no script, there's nothing that I have to put together in order to make these videos. I just press go on my phone, upload this onto my channel, and then people give me an opinion. And I think that's a great thing about doing live streams and about doing vloggy type videos. When with Joe's situation, it really, it it irks me. I won't say it annoys me because I have no investment in Joe. You know, and the I think that that's kind of where the problem lies with his content and what he produces. Is I don't care as much as most. But I do see where a lot of his fan base, a lot of the entitled fans, as him and Rich has put it, I can see where they're coming from, because you've invested so much time and, for a lot of people, money into Joe and building his channel, that you feel like you are an investor, you're a shareholder, you're someone who's made money towards putting that channel and making it what it is today. And I agree, Cardinal, I don't watch his content anymore. 2014 was the last I did it, and that was because his stuff got really bad, to say the least. I'm not a Joe fanboy. As a human being, I think people need to tone down on the hate and communicate their viewpoints a little bit more eloquently. But as someone who used to be a fan of his, and as someone who sees it from a business perspective, because everyone is using the whole business and television perspective to do it. To see people thrive on a small budget, look at people like Boogie, where they started what they have now, and alongside battling a ton of health conditions. Yeah, and that's another thing. I've spoken about Boogie and his viewpoint on this, and how that he's a big papa bear in terms of the fact that he's the nicest guy on YouTube. There is no one in the world as nice as Boogie. But I do feel like sometimes he lets fanboyism kind of get in the way of the topic at hand when he speaks on stuff. He's one of my favourites too, Cardinal. Apart from you, you're my number one fave. But yeah, they thrive on a smaller budget, you know, and they thrive on doing so much on so little. And I think where in Joe's case, his situation is that he's just not communicating, and he doesn't feel like he needs to, and his fan base and investment that they've put in is akin to looking at big business and looking at shareholders who've invested in your company and shunning them and saying, well, you're a shareholder, but I don't need to kind of do anything for you, because why should I? You've invested in my stuff, great, but I don't need to do anything for you. I need to do it for me. And when a YouTuber, like, if you don't monetize your videos, if you don't have Patreon, if you don't have any sort of money coming from your fan base, do all the content you want because it's your content. You can do a channel that caters towards you, but then you're not catering it towards an audience. You're catering it towards yourself and your own selfish needs. And if you want to do that, great. I've got nothing against you doing that. I've got nothing against anyone doing that. But if you basically want to make money doing this, then you've got to eat shit, and you've got to let people digest the content that they want. If someone came to my channel and said, I came here for the top fives, and I stopped making top fives, I'm not going to keep that subscriber, because that subscriber is going to go somewhere else. If someone comes here and says, I want to do the Average British Review, why don't you do those anymore? Oh, I'm tired, I want to make content for me. They'll leave. And you can't get pissy at people for leaving your channel and unsubscribing and moving on to another channel because they don't want to see something. You know, the worst thing you can do when there's an issue with your show or product is go silent. I know it's a different situation, but look what happened to the devs of No Man's Sky when they're silent. Yeah, I agree. No, but again, promises were made. He's put out a couple of statements, Mush, where basically he talked about the fact that he was blocking the comment section, that he was taking the thumbs up and thumbs down. 2, he stated that he may cancel the Angry Joe show, so it may not come back at all. And 3, he basically stated that he's going to make his content for his channel and doesn't care if people get upset about it, which I think is a big, big mistake. I think with anybody who has a fan base that are ingrained in their product, by not communicating, it doesn't help. YouTube is not television. YouTube is not like film. It is social media. And I want people to know this right now. This is social media. You are creating videos expressly to connect with your audience. And this is the big thing here. And I think a lot of these guys don't get that. A lot of big YouTubers don't get that. And I think that's kind of silly. Because the moment you sit there and go, well, I'm like a TV aficionado, or I'm like someone who makes videos and like a production company, you're not. You're some dude who sits there on their laptop or their PC and makes content to be digested via a YouTube audience. And kind of that's where the things, go south in a way, because I feel there's an arrogance there where they're like, well, we're just like the big guys. If you were like a television exec, you'd be making TV content. If you're like basically someone who can create for film, you'd be a filmmaker. You wouldn't be doing this full time. You wouldn't be doing YouTube full time. If your career is YouTube, then you need to understand that it works on different levels akin to what people state in other medias, and that's where I think the divide comes from. And they don't, and I agree, YouTubers don't have time off. No one has time off. But that's not due to your fan base's issue. That's due to YouTube having changed their algorithm and their platform many a time, to the point where you have to make videos 4 times a week in order to stay relevant, or do live streams like this where they're over an hour so people can digest, so your watch time is high. And it's annoying. Yeah, I get it, it's annoying. But you have to change with the times. If you're a freelancer and you work for someone and you have no contract in play, and that contract changes its terms because you're going by a handshake, then I'm sorry, that's the only thing you can do. And this is where the problem. There is no contract here. You don't have a contract with YouTube. You just make content in order for them to pay you for monetization if you're over a certain subscriber base. That's all you're doing. And if you're making basically content and people like that content, they're going to expect it. And thus is where the problem lies. You cannot tell your fan base off for not wanting live streams, or not wanting Angry Joe Game of Thrones reviews. You can't tell your fan base off because they get upset with you taking a lot of time off from making content because you want to go and live your life. It doesn't work that way. And the same thing happened with JonTron, where he got upset because people were hating on him for doing sporadic videos and not making content enough so that, he could basically make money, and also so his fan base was satisfied. And I get it. I understand. It's a lot of work. This is a lot of work. But if you don't want to do it, you can leave. Find something else to do. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to be the guy who sits there and on his high horse and say, well, if you don't like it, you can leave. But that's your only option. Google aren't going to relent. Oh, yeah, Spoonie, but Spoonie lives off of his thousands on his Patreon that people donate to him for no reason. So, that bugs me on that one to a whole new level, but that's another story. But that's the problem. You can't expect your fan base to pay you to consume your content if you're not giving them what they want. And it's a PR marketing standpoint other than anything else, You give people what they want, unless you are one of those very rare YouTubers like myself, like Xander Leggett, like Down Phoenix, of course, who make content and do not have anybody to answer to. We just make it because we want to make it, and because we want to discuss certain topics, because we have a kind of a dog in the fight, so to speak. And in terms of my opinion is, I feel like there's so many people who try and overplay what this is and what this platform is. YouTube is not a television company. It's not a film company. Yes, you have people who go on from their channels to make content elsewhere and change the way that they do it. It gives them a foot in the door if they're doing stand-up comedy. It gives them a foot in the door if they want to do like video games. It gives them a foot in the door if they want to do films or television. But 9 times out of 10, that doesn't really work. This is what it is. If you don't like it, you don't have to make it. But then you'll have to find another way to get your voice out there or get your content out there and get consumers to be interested in you. That's all you can do. And thus is the biggest kind of issue that I have with YouTubers in general. Everybody thinks that they're fucking Martin Scorsese and that they're basically doing this because they're making a world's biggest masterpiece. The Angry Joe reviews aren't a masterpiece. They're not by an Academy Award winning director, and they're not by an Academy Award winning editor. They are not by a presenter who's been on this, that, and everything else. They're by a guy in his room making videos that was funded with a system that was funded by his fans. That's it. You know, look at Doug Walker too. He was going to break his critic reviews, and his fan base showed if he stopped, he would have nothing. Yeah, and that's agreed, Moosh. And my content is crap, and I know it. Cardinal, I love your content. Your content has a kind of rustic charm to it. Never say it's garbage. But at the same time, like, I know with these guys, with the way that they put themselves out there and they hold their nose up in the air to everybody else, Joe has so much potential, but I feel like he lets his ego get in the way of that. And that is the truth. And if Joe would like to message me or talk to me or discuss this, you can get a hold of me any way you can, mate. I've got an official website. I have my YouTube channel. You can sit down and discuss with me over Skype. I'll give you my Skype ID, everything. Get someone to contact me. I'll give you everything I have. Because as far as I'm concerned, I feel like you're being an egomaniac, that you're letting your own potential go to waste, and that you're losing your fan base because you don't want to admit that they dictate what you have. And as Musha said, look at a guy who is associated with you, that you worked for under Blistered Thumbs, and he's now got Channel Awesome's YouTube channel, Mr. Doug Walker. He had to change and cater to his fans, otherwise he would never have had anything. You know, the only reason that Channel Awesome is actually making any money at all is a nostalgia critic. He knows it. It's his bread and butter. You know, it's what makes his channel click. He tried to do something different. People shunned it, got angry with it, and he got upset to the point where he was like, I have to bring this back. If I don't bring it back, then I might as well just not do this anymore. That is a prime example of someone who listened when their fan base screamed and yelled that they wanted this and this alone. Same goes for guys like Linkara, who caters his reviews. He knows exactly what he needs to produce for his fans to consume content in order for him to do his thing. He does have those filler videos, which no one watches. I don't watch most of his filler videos, but you can see by the amount of views that his original reviews get on his other stuff. Same with James Rolfe. His money is from his content alone to make Matei or any others. And that's agreed. James Rolfe is the bread and butter of Cinemassacre.com. If James took a hiatus and Mike Matei was left to handle the channel, I guarantee you that the Cinemassacre wouldn't really work anymore. It would be hemorrhaging money because the guy wouldn't be able to put anything. That's why James is nearly in every video. Whether it's a Let's Play, whether it's him talking candidly about a film he loves, or whatever it is, he makes sure that he's in every video because people want to see James. Is it annoying? Yeah. But I'm not the kind of person who will sit there and go, oh, poor you. Because as far as I'm concerned, you are getting paid to do something that you love. That's it. You are being paid to make content and provide people with a variation of escapism, in a sense, that they want to see. And if you don't want to do it, again, as I said, fine, but you've got to be accountable for that and suffer the consequences when people don't want to watch your content anymore. You know, I'm not, and I have to admit, if I basically went to the Game Theorist channel and I didn't see game theories on there, I probably would unsubscribe. The same happened to a channel that I recently liked, Comic Island. They stopped doing comic book reviews, so I left the channel entirely. Because I didn't want to, that's not what I came to see. I came to see a certain bit of content. And again, you can go to me. If I don't produce a content that my fans want to see and want to hear from me, and I don't give them the right to communicate and tell me whether I'm right or wrong, or give an opinion, then what's the point of making it? And thus leaves to the biggest kind of issue with YouTube in general. I know YouTube sucks right now. I know YouTube is screwing over every single content creator, but you can either deal with it the way that Philip DeFranco has dealt with it. If some channels would stop doing only pickups and unboxing videos, I'd resubscribe. If you basically change the way that your channel was working, if you're really that creative of a person, you'd be able to do something different and show people something, and they would draw themselves to it. A lot of channels aren't that creative. Like the Game Chasers, I doubt the Game Chasers wouldn't do anything else than game chasing videos. I know there's a few of those loyal fans that watch it, but if they stopped doing those, people probably would never watch them. If the Happy Console Gamer stopped doing happy console gamer videos and was doing vlogs, people would stop watching him, and that's basically where it goes. Game Theory lost me around a year ago when he got all Five Nights and Undertale theories. It was no longer the content I was up to. I actually like those. That kind of drew me back in because I kind of just, it was one of those channels I was subscribed to, but I never watched any of the content. And then when he did the Five Nights stuff and the Undertale stuff, because I like it with games like that that have variations of stories. They have ideas, but they never have an actual linear story. And it's a way that we can all get together and actually make our own theories and figure things out. And it's nice to have someone who basically puts out some good content, like him, Noggin, and Treesicle had some great Five Nights videos. But I digress. But that's the thing. You can't sit there and say, I can't cater to these people because it's my content. The moment people start subscribing, the moment you gain a fan base, the moment you get bigger than over 100,000 subscribers, to the point where you know more and more people are subbing and adding your content to their daily playlist, you got to keep going. Otherwise, you don't, then your channel dies. Then you become one of these others, YouTube's what ifs, you know. And I know it's annoying. I know it's taxing. I used to I remember when I was doing this channel 5 days a week. I was making content every day. I was getting literally minimum views, literally nothing. I was getting people downvoting my videos. I was getting people talking trash about me. And I had so much motivation to keep going. And then one day I just sat there and went, you know what? Let's concentrate on the stuff that's going good. You know, let's concentrate on doing some stand-up comedy. I'm getting bookings for that. I've even had a booking agent inquire about me doing some US gigs. Let's go and do the acting thing that I was trained in. Let's do all these other stuff. Let's do my logo designs under my Nerd Genius designs business. And it makes more sense when you've got something that's more viable on the sidelines and say, hey, I want to do something more viable. I don't just want to make YouTube content anymore. So I kind of scaled my content back, scaled myself back, and concentrated on stuff that basically I can do and that makes me happy, that I can make more money off of than YouTube. And for me, this has never been about the money. YouTube has always been about me communicating with people and talking to my fan base. Each and every one of you who's commented on this video today, every person who consumes my content and watches it, this is all it's about for me. YouTube is very tiring. I have reviews up on my channel around 10 minutes, but took 6 to 8 hours to put together, only 50 to 200 views. And I know people have enjoyed them. I just want to get that spark back. That's the thing, and I agree with you. And, you know, it does take a lot of time to make. You know, this is why I'm actually negotiating with someone at the moment to edit my videos for me. And I'll just make the scripts, do the voiceovers, and get them to edit the video footage and upload them to my channel. Makes it a lot more easier for me, so I can still do the other stuff, but I can also provide content to you. And I want to do that for my fans. I want to do that for people who enjoy my stuff. And I know I don't have a bigger fan base than Angry Joe. And for those people who say I'm jealous, I'm really not. Because he must be having a headache and a half right now trying to figure out how he's going to get himself out of this situation. But when you spend hours creating content, I know you want a lot more people to admire that. But when you put something out there, it's art, in a sense. You're putting it out there to be consumed by people, and people will give you a subjective opinion, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether you think it's an amazing thing that you're doing, or whether you think that it's the worst piece of shit that you've ever got on the planet. And it comes down to that. And I think as someone who's I've worked in YouTube, and I was actually looking at it on and off. I've been doing YouTube for 8 years, which is... It's actually hilarious. Yeah, have you ever thought about doing a group thing again with multiple people under one name? I was thinking about that, but every time I do it, people just stop motivating themselves. So I'd rather pay someone to edit my videos and just put my content out there. But I am thinking of using a day to showcase other talent, and getting people to put their videos out, submit their videos to my channel, and at least see if I can get my rather small fan base to migrate over and see other content as well. But yeah, as I said, it comes down to the fact that I know it's taxing. I know you put a lot of work into it, but it's like art. Art is always there to be consumed. No one cares who painted the biggest painting in the world currently. You know, they know the artist's name, but they don't give a shit about his process. No one cared about Da Vinci's process. No one gives a shit about the process of Vincent van Gogh. No one gave a fuck about, I'm trying to think of Matisse. No one gave a fuck about his oil colours. And that's the thing that we kind of have a divide on. You've got people who sit there and go, people need to give a fuck about me. No, they don't. Unless you're a reality TV star who puts their entire life out there for people to see, no one should give a fuck about you. No one should give a crap about what you're doing, what you're going through, or anything like that, unless you're willing to put it out there. All they care about is your content and what you're willing to do for them. And I know it sounds entitled, I know it sounds a bit dickish, and I know it sounds really harsh to say, but that's the truth. So if guys like Joe want to continue doing this and want to continue making money from YouTube, then my advice from someone who basically has seen how these kind of messes go and has been through Doug Walker's issues. I've spent years with Da Vinci. Turns out his process was cheese fries. He just stays up all night creating and eating cheese fries. I wish that was the case, because I would love cheese fries. Oh, could do with some cheese fries right now. But that's the thing. Unless you want to do something else, unless you're happy with the bare minimum that you're going to get, Joe, then you know what? Do what you got to do, because you can only look at Doug Walker to see how things turned out for him when he wasn't giving people what they wanted. And as nice a guy that Doug is, he had to rescind and he had to relent. And it happens. You see channels that went from creating the one thing that people wanted to stop creating it. Went to a point people hated it. People didn't want to see that. And we're at a time now where we're fighting for subscribers. People are fighting to maintain an audience. And you're sitting there getting really pissy because a bunch of people said, I don't want to see anything but angry reviews. What can you do? And, you know, and the fun thing, and Rich did say this, where he was like, well, if you don't like it, don't watch those videos, just watch the angry reviews. Great, but then you're not making any money, because now it goes on the content that you put up there, it goes on the views, it goes on the watch time, and it goes on the amount of content that you're putting in during the week. So unless you have a Patreon, then you're not going to get guaranteed money from people. So if someone doesn't want to watch anything but angry reviews, if you're going to wait till September to do a bunch of angry reviews and people don't want to watch your channel, that's a long time as well. And people don't get that. That is a long time to not making content that people want to see. So if you stop doing that, you're going to have subscribers who eventually just will click on the unsubscribe button or just forget about you entirely. And when your next big angry review comes out, people are just going to be like, meh. It happened to JonTron. It happened to the point people got so sick and tired of him that they just stopped watching his content. And it happens. And that's where you've got to ask yourself that question and say, do I want to do this anymore? Do I want to be a YouTuber? Do I want to continue making content that my fans enjoy? If the answer to you, Joe, is no, then fine. But don't downplay the impact that your fans had on your channel. Don't. And I'll say this to any YouTuber who has the ego to say it, do not downplay your fan base. Because the moment you downplay your fan base is the moment people are just going to walk away from you entirely. Because like all of us, as we are social beings, as we are human beings who want to feel appreciated and want to feel loved by those who work with us, who talk to us, who understand us, the moment you downplay my worth to you is the moment I'll walk away. And people are going to be like that. And forget about the vindictive trolls, because there are going to be vindictive trolls who are going to sit there and going to be like, I hate you, and try and go in droves to downvote his shit. That's fine. He gets more money that way anyway. Yeah, his arrogance was for me as well. It turned me away from his stuff. I tried to give him another chance, I think about a few months back. Just didn't work. And that's because of that. But you're going to have those trolls. You're going to have those trolls, and you're going to have those people who basically are going to try and stir shit up. But at the same time, you're going to have these people who like your stuff but don't want to see any more of this terrible behavior. And that's the thing as well. I think arrogance in any field can destroy you. Whether you're an actor, whether you're a director, whether you are a freelance artist, the moment you sit there and go, well, you have to cater to my needs, not the other way round, and I do what I want, you're going to fail. I've seen some damn good actors fail and never do anything for their career again because no one wants to touch them because of their egos. You've got situations where people get really controlling and abusive and nobody wants anything to do with them. And Joe is going through that right now. And a lot of it is due to his own sense of self. I have a sense of self. I have a little bit of an ego. But I always look at everybody that's helped me be where I am. And I'm telling you right now, once I get to the 600 mark, I'm going to thank everybody for doing that for my channel because it's a big deal for me. I'm not the kind of guy who wants 10 million subscribers or anything like that. Any milestone where I get over a threshold that I was stuck on, it means the world to me. And I think that's the problem. I think his arrogance is devaluing the worth of his fans to him, and it's making it out like, I'm the star. I'm the star. I deserve all the praise. I deserve all the credit. Like a 5-year-old telling his mum and daddy that he deserves attention. That's not the way it goes, because with that behavior, it turns people off, and it gets people into a situation where they just don't want anything to do with you anymore. And that's a shame. And for someone who's very talented, and I'm going to point this out, that he is very, very talented. He's very talented. Because I guarantee you, there is probably not enough people on YouTube right now who can do what Joe does. Who can write scripts, who can create, and who can make content that people want to see. But, saying that, there are a lot of YouTubers who can make profound reviews, who can give you ideas and tell you exactly what you're expecting when you're looking at a game. If it's trash, if it's amazing, if it's basically the game that you want to buy. And that's kind of the one thing when it comes to the gaming community. Everyone does what Joe does. Everyone does what I do. You know, there are other channels out there. I can name about 5 channels off the top of my hand right now that do what I do. Mundane Matt probably does what I do, but does it better. Guru Larry does what I do, but does it better. Xander Scullion does what I do, but does it better. Down Phoenix. Cheap plug there, Down Phoenix. The Retro Bro. You've got 5 YouTubers right there who do the same thing that I do and who probably have a much more ingrained fan base who watch their content all the time. I'm just a British guy with a microphone. Cardinal, you know what? I have to admit, no one does do what you do. You bring the class back to the classics. So, you know, I'm just a guy with a microphone who creates videos like this, but also has a very niche kind of talent that I can use Photoshop and use editing tools to make videos and reviews and top 5s and loads of other little bits and pieces that I work from. And I can write scripts, I can make videos, and I can make content. Joe does the same thing, but he does it in bigger and bolder kind of types. It takes like 300 hours to make his content, as he puts it. And the same goes for James Rolfe and other people. But that's when you look at it and go, okay, if I'm getting burned out from the editing process, maybe I need to outsource the editing process. He's got the money to do so. Or if I'm getting burnt out of writing scripts, let's get someone to write scripts for me and see if we can get like a comedy guy in, like Doug did when he hired 2 actors to help him with his Nostalgia Critic stuff to make it seem more funny and make it more of an ensemble cast rather than just one dude. It worked. He retooled the show and it worked a lot better. You have to look at your fan base and look at what your fan base wants. Thank you, Mush. Thank you, Cardinal. And Cardinal needs more love. He needs a lot more love, in my opinion. You have to look at your fan base, look at what they want, gauge their reactions in terms of what you're putting out in terms of content, and see what it is exactly that they want to see so you can give them the best kind of content that you can. And that's it. I've seen channels that have literally nothing in terms of quality gain a huge ton of subscribers because they engage with their audience. And it was a question that was actually asked for me by one of my good friends. Xander was saying, why do channels with low quality get a subscriber base? And the really big thing is they engage. And once you stop engaging with your audience, no matter how good your content is, no matter how high spec the quality is, once you stop engaging with your audience, I guarantee you your channel will not last. And I think, and I'm going to point this out there until Joe settles his ego issues, in my opinion, I think we're going to see a lot more people boycotting his channel and walking away from it. And that's kind of going to be the thing where I leave everybody on here. If you subscribe to Angry Joe or any other channel, and you think by downvoting their videos, right, and exactly, Moose, they cater to their fans and they see what they want to see. If you think by downvoting his videos that gives you a voice, it doesn't. If you want to hit someone, basically, who you don't like, there are two ways to do it. One, you unsubscribe and walk away from their content. All you need to do. Two, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you unsubscribe and you take away money from their Patreon. Because if you do not like their practices, just like anything else in business, where you've got a company that you don't like and they are basically making something that you don't like, or they basically put out, or film company that puts out a movie like the Michael Bay Transformers films that people hate, do not consume their content. Unclick the bell, unsubscribe, do not watch their videos. The moment you do that, that hits them where it hurts. It hits them in the wallet. And that's the best way to deal with it. Stop trolling them, because trolling them gives them views. Stop getting angry and debating with them, because debating with them gets them views. Stop attacking them on social media, because you're giving them PR. If you want to hurt someone, unsubscribe. Ignore them. That is the worst thing you can do to any YouTube channel out there. And if you want to make your voice heard to Joe, then do not watch his content. Do not consume any of his content. Walk away and find someone else who does what he does, but actually listens and communicates with their subscribers. It's not rocket science, folks. And I understand the anger. I understand the justification for said anger. And I understand where everyone is coming from. But it's time to show people why we're angry, instead of being angry and slandering them and slagging them off, because all you're doing is giving them publicity. The elite Sarkeesians out there, the social justice warriors who are out there with their own YouTube channels talking about how they hate men, and the people like Joe who lead by their egos and do not care about their fan base. And I guarantee he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. You want to make him listen, you walk away from his content. You know, and that's the thing. And the same thing, and I want to put a question out to you guys. Do you think this Joe situation can be resolved? And if so, leave your comments below, let me know. And as always, as well, if you would like to see me do my stand-up comedy, you live in the London area, you can do. Head down to the Comedy Store tomorrow. I'll be participating in their King Gong show. It's where they'll basically get us up there. We have to tell some jokes before we get voted off stage. The winner gets a 5-minute set, which is recorded, of course, by the Comedy Store themselves. So, yay me. And I'll also be doing a show at the Lion's Den on the Tuesday, and then probably be doing some show editing on the Wednesday. See how it goes. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it from me. If you would like to donate to a Patreon, I'm not going to tell you you have to, but if you would like to donate to a Patreon, currently I'm making a short movie called Glass Mirrors. I basically want to pay my actors, and I want to pay everybody involved in that movie. You can contribute and become a producer on that movie yourselves by donating to patreon.com/Enigma Entertainment. If you would like to see the other videos, I'm going to leave Richard's video download at the link below once this is processed. I'm going to leave Xander's video at the link below with him talking about the situation as well, where he gives a more technical aspect. He talks about the subscriber base itself and YouTube content creators versus their fan base. I'm also going to be putting down the videos from Angry Joe as well in the bottom there. You can see I'm giving him a bit of PR. I'm so nice. And I'm also going to be putting Boogie's video as well. And if you like what you see here today and you like my videos and my content, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And as always, folks, before you get your panties in the twist, this is just a subjective opinion, and opinions are subjective. Everyone is allowed to have them. As you're going from the far left or the far right, whether you agree or disagree with me, I am entitled to have an opinion. And if you don't like my opinion, say so. Debate with me. Try and change my mind. You know, it's it's that easy. I love you loads. Have a lovely day. And to each and every person there, thank you to Cardinal. I'll leave a subscription, a link for him, and also Moosh as well. Have a good day, good sir. And thank you all for the talk and the discussion. As always, this is a discussion and your opinion matters. So this has been Michael Burhan to each and every one of you lovely folks saying that I've got gameplay. Have you? See you soon.